Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the CHS Weekly Report. I am your host, Emily Fletcher of WDSO, and this week I have the pleasure of speaking to members of Chesterton High School's Yearbook staff. Thanks for coming in today, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Alrighty, please introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in.
I'm Jocelyn Ringler, and I'm a junior.
I'm Marley Wilson. I'm also a junior.
And I'm Riley Henry, and I'm also a junior.
Oh, okay. Are you guys involved with any other clubs or activities at Chesterton High School?
Yeah, I play both soccer and lacrosse, and I'm also in Spell Bowl.
I'm the class liaison for the juniors. I'm in Spell Bowl. Yeah.
Okay.
And I play softball, and I'm a student athletic trainer.
All right. What made you guys decide to join the Yearbook staff?
My friends have always been in it, and I thought, I would watch what they were doing, and I thought it looked really cool, and, going and taking the pictures and interviewing people. So I just wanted to try it out for this year, and I really like it so far.
Awesome.
When I went into high school, I thought I wanted to do something in journalism, so that's when I joined Yearbook.
I was kind of just placed in Yearbook my freshman year, and I enjoyed it, so I just kept going with it.
Cool. So you guys have all worked on, this is your first year?
Yeah.
Okay, but you guys have worked on it in the past. Cool. What skills have you learned from being on the Yearbook staff that you think translate to other areas of your life?
I feel like talking to people, learning good communication, really listening to everything they say so you could write it down, how they say it and how they mean it.
Yeah, probably the same thing as what Jocelyn said. Just a lot of, talking to people that I don't know and, being able to just, have really good conversations with them.
I would say, working with other people and, trying to get something done on a deadline and meeting a deadline.
All very important. Do you think of Yearbook as more of a club, or is it more of a class?
I would say it's more of a class, but it definitely, takes out of class work. I work on it for the majority of SRT also.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's definitely more of a class because if you don't get your stuff done on time, even if it's because other people aren't answering your interviews or you can't get pictures, you're still gonna get graded on what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a class. You have to do stuff outside of, school, but, again, what Marley said, you get graded on stuff, and, you need to do, your best work.
How much time per week do you guys spend working on the Yearbook?
I feel I don't know, especially on gold days, closer to, 2 hours a day, because that's the day where we have both Yearbook and SRT. But depending on how close we are to a deadline, it might be more, maybe 3 hours a day.
Mm.
Since I'm one of the editors, I'm constantly looking at it. The majority of my SRT is spent just even just looking through the pages and stuff. So my daily on a maroon day is probably 3, and then maybe even 4 on gold days.
I don't know the exact amount of time, but all I'll say is too much time.
Well, you want it to be good. You want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain the steps from the beginning to handing them out the next year of creating a great yearbook?
This sounds like a Marley question.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. So first, me and Miss J, for the last 2 years, have been, start texting, or not texting, emailing over the summer, and we start thinking about different themes and stuff. I know last year I already had a couple picked out before the year even ended. So once we get into school and we talk to everyone in the class, we make sure everyone knows what they need to do, and then we talk about what our theme is. This year's theme is Netflix.
Oh.
So it was kind of a unanimous decision to do that. And then once we knew what our theme was, we had to start talking about ways to incorporate it. And then we had to pretty much immediately start on all of our spreads because everything started so quick this year. So we assign fall spreads. So everything that happens in fall gets assigned at one time. And then it's literally just go, 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 get everything done as fast as possible. And then we'll go through and edit it a couple times. And then we turn those spreads in and we try and send them over to Jostens. And then it's like the same process for winter and then spring. And then by spring, me and Riley and Jocelyn will probably already know what our theme is for next year. And then it'll be like the same thing. We'll pass out the books during advisory probably and then repeat.
Okay. How many students make up the yearbook staff?
As of right now, it's 11, which isn't great, but
Last year it was like 21. And we had more. This year we have us 3 juniors, 1 sophomore, and then the rest are freshmen. Whereas last year it was like 6 or 7 sophomores, and we had 3 seniors, and we didn't have any juniors, but then the rest of the class was freshmen. And then, it was like the same thing when I was a freshman too.
I was thinking 11 sounded like a lot, but clearly it is not a lot. Okay, so next question is, can you tell us a little bit about the staff sponsor of the CHS yearbook?
you can take that one
I'm
too.
going to talk about Miss J. I love Miss J. She's the best. She always has candy in her room, and then she lets us eat that whenever we need to. If we're like, we have like a yearbook cry count and like how many days we've gone without crying, and she's like she thinks it's so funny. She loves it. We were gonna make shirts and put her face on them, and it was like not a very great picture either, and she was like all for it. She's just, everything we say, she's like, yes. She's not so much deciding what happens with the yearbook too. She just tells us different ways we could make it work, or like what our limits are too. So she's like very good at what she does. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you guys like most about being part of the yearbook staff?
I don't know. I feel like working with people is nice, and also like having to talk to other people, and it's very creative. Like you can design your spread almost however you want with like still following the theme, obviously.
I think I just like knowing what everything's going to look like before. And then I like knowing people and knowing things about different people. So then I always tell people that I know them before they even know my name. Because I'll know like so much about them just from seeing the different things that they do in the yearbook and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I like to like getting to know like different people, but like I also like being able to work on it throughout the entire year and then seeing it once it's done, like, oh, like I made that. I don't know. It feels cool.
A physical representation of all your hard work,
Yeah.
Yes.
not just a letter grade. How does a student join the yearbook staff?
Put it in your schedule.
Yeah. On your scheduling appointments, don't do what I did and forget about it and then have to schedule another one. But because scheduling appointments are coming up. So tell your counselors that you want to be in it. I'm sure we'll have room because it's not a very full class.
If you're very good at like talking to people, or you're into photography or like graphic design, like those are the kind of kids that we would really like in yearbook. So like if you're into newspaper but you want to do more of the photography side of it, that is literally what yearbook is.
Okay. So that's a little bit of this question, but so what type of students do you feel make a great fit for the yearbook staff, and then what are the expectations of the students?
Hard workers and people that won't flake on their commitments, because it's not like a normal class where if you don't do it, you just fail. Like it needs to be done. So if you don't do it, somebody else has to do it. So we really care about like do your stuff. If you say you're going to do it, then you have to do it, or else someone else gets stuck with it.
Right.
Yeah, work ethic is a really like big deal. And especially like being able to get stuff done on time and having good time management skills. Like if you don't get stuff done on a deadline, it turns into either one of the people who've done it before or Miss J doing it. And we don't like being still working on the yearbook in the middle of June.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, good students, I'd say, like people who take pride in what they do and people who don't slack off, because it's really annoying when we have slackers and then like we have to pick up other stuff, like, oh, like here's this on top of my 5 other spreads I have to do. Like,
Right.
Goody. But yeah.
And the deadline is tomorrow.
Is there anything about this year's yearbook that you think is particularly unique, like beyond the theme of Netflix?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of what the yearbook looks like right now.
We're doing the cover.
The cover is really, really cool.
The cover's amazing.
Yeah.
Once we get our mock-up of it, I think I'm going to try and send it out on the yearbook Instagram and stuff, so everyone should go look at that. But it's really, really cool. It's got, like, all the lines of when you, like, open the Netflix app, and it'll, like, the lines go through, and then you see the end, and then it's, like, your screen. There's a lot of references to Netflix, and you'll see, like, a lot of different, it's just really cool.
Especially Marley, Riley, and Mrs. J the most have done a really great job of, like, sticking to the theme on all the pages that aren't dedicated to certain things, like the dividers, and not just the, like, girls golf or basketball. Like, the pages in between are, like, so Netflix. Like, they've done such a great job at that.
Oh, so at the beginning of the year, do you guys just have a list of everything that you guys need to get covered, and then you just check it off? Or do things, like, come up that you have ideas for?
It depends, because, like, we'll have, like, we obviously need to cover all our sports and, like, all the extracurricular stuff. So, like, we'll have that, and then at the beginning of, like, each, like, season, like, fall, winter, spring, we'll, like, assign stuff. But then, like, if something doesn't work out for a spread, we're like, oh. And then we'll, like, pick, like, we'll try to, like, think of something, like, on the fly, like, what can we put here? And then we'll just, like, assign that to someone. So it depends on if it's, like, an important spread that needs to get done or just, like, a random one that'll be different every year.
Cool. What are some of the events that get covered by the yearbook beyond basketball games and who the cheerleading team is?
Well, we do almost everything that we can. Like, special events like the trick-or-treat that just happened. We're doing all the, like alley-oop for awareness and all the things that in Madrigal, like, stuff that's not with a team necessarily, but, like, big events that go on at our school that people would want to see.
Everything. We even have stuff for food drive. We had a page for Pink Week. I think on our homecoming page, we have a lot of, like, not pep rally stuff, but, like, a lot of stuff from the parade. And then it's, like, literally, if it's going on in the school, there's probably someone who took pictures, and it's probably going to go in the yearbook somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that, as a yearbook staff, you've had to overcome covering content?
Well, sometimes it's just hard to get to some things. Like, especially, none of us can drive, so getting to, like, away games is difficult. And sometimes, like, there's just no pictures sometimes, and it's hard to get, like I was in charge of the girls golf spread. Like, I couldn't go to state, and if nobody took pictures from state, then I just don't have any pictures.
This year we were told that we weren't allowed to take pictures on the sidelines because the refs were getting mad because there were too many people. So, like, but there were other people who were able to get on the sidelines to take photos. So we weren't even allowed to, like, at varsity games, we were not allowed to be there. So all of our varsity football pictures, like, if we didn't have good pictures or we didn't have enough, there was nothing we could do.
Yeah.
And then that just makes it worse because then you can't get dance. Like, there's not always dance at the halftime, or there's always not cheer when they're doing, like, the quarters. There's not always marching band. And then it just turns into a lot of, like,
Right.
what do you want me to do to do my school?
And so what do you think some of the highlights of your time on the yearbook have been?
Parties when we have accomplishments. Like, well, like, I don't know. Last time Mrs. J brought in, like, a cookie cake for all of us. And we kind of just, like, chilled. But, like, that or the field trip that we do. We go to this conference in Valpo at the beginning of the year and talk about yearbook stuff. And that's when we make the cover and stuff. And then we go out to eat afterwards. And it's pretty fun.
Where did you go?
Panera.
Oh, okay.
We had way
charged lemonade.
way too much of the charged lemonade.
Okay. Do you have any advice for future yearbook staff members?
Don't be afraid, because I know sometimes it gets like a bad stigma. Like people think it's for like a nerd or whatever. But it's so fun. Like sometimes when you tell people that you want to do yearbook, they're like, "Oh, you chose to do that." But like it's so fun and it's completely worth it. Like people think it's worse than it is, or like I don't know. But if you just overcome that part, you'll enjoy it as long as you get your work done.
It's not embarrassing if you're not embarrassed. The amount of times that I'll go, it's like become a huge joke that I'll chase people down in the hallway for an interview. My freshman year, I chased Chris Mullen and Travis Grayson down like in the lunchroom, like went running after them because they had not bought their yearbook yet. And it kind of has turned me into like the crazy yearbook girl. But like I don't care because I love it. So like really, if you're not embarrassed, then nobody else will be.
Yeah. I mean, mine's completely different from what they said, but I don't know. My main thing is get your stuff done on time, because it's really annoying when it's not done on time, and then it backs us up even more, and especially not having a lot of people makes life really hard.
I feel like you have had to do a lot of other people's work before.
I mean, like, not this year yet, but last year I did.
Yeah.
It's still early.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, is there anything else you'd like to tell listeners about being part of the yearbook staff?
I don't know. Just don't be afraid to do it. Like it's so fun, and there's
really
no
does sound
shame
fun.
in it.
Mm-hmm. It's
It
pretty
gets
chill.
you fine arts credits. So even if you just do it a year and then hate it, then there you go. You got your academic.
And it's bucket too, right?
I think it also
If
fills
you're
out your
missing
bucket too.
bucket
Yeah,
two
help
for
you
graduation.
graduate.
Helps you graduate. So even
does.
if you try it and then you hate it for a year, then hate it, get your stuff done, and then you don't have to come back.
And it's not very like academically challenging. Like it's not really about how smart you are. It's about really your work ethic. Like if you work hard and do everything on time, you will get a good grade.
Yeah. So there's only one level of yearbook. You just keep taking yearbook every year?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty, well then, unless you guys have anything else to add, that's going to be it for this week's edition of the CHS Weekly Report. I would like to thank my guests, the members of the Chesterton High School yearbook staff, for coming in and talking to me today, and also thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This has been Emily Fletcher signing off.